Hey, RetconRaider here, and welcome back to Skald against the Black Priory. You know, the first time around we just barely broke the surface, but y'all have been asking for it, so for better or worse, it's time to take the plunge. Though, to be 1,000,000% fair, it appears that our boy Valinrook there is already in over his head, just barely treading water at the moment. But he does have a level up in the queue, so let's see if we can get him taken care of. For the first time in your life, you are overcome with a sense of purpose. The path ahead will undoubtedly be difficult, but you are certain it is the one you are supposed to take. Valinrook has reached the lofty heights of level 2, which nets him a +5 vitality, and 3 ranks to distribute amongst his feats. And no real question here, I'm fairly certain we went over it back in the pilot episode, but while we do have several options here, several things that we do want to pick up eventually, for now, for the sake of our survival, we absolutely need to prioritize this one. We need to max out Bread for War and unlock Second Wind. Otherwise, we're toast. That is the singular healing move we'll have access to for the early portion of the game. It's either that or potions, and potions are inherently finite. And as an added bonus, we're instantly topped off, including removing the leg wound, which is a welcome reprieve, because otherwise that would have made this early segment even more hazardous than it's already apt to be. Eventually we'll be able to hold our own, but for now we need to tread lightly, avoid making waves, and hopefully we can coast our way to safety, though it's still far from a sure thing. The shores of Idra. Slowly, you drag yourself from the cold water onto the relative safety of solid rock. You try and fail to stagger forwards as exhaustion washes over you in a great black wave. Oblivion takes you before you hit the rocky ground. You're awoken by the cacophonous cries of gulls circling you. Your body is a mass of pain and exhaustion, covered in 1,000 cuts and scrapes. The large white birds gather around you in eager anticipation. What a magnificent feast your bloated corpse would make. Not today. Minutes or perhaps hours pass as you lay unmoving, trying desperately to will some warmth back into your body. Finally, you manage to force your eyes open. By some miracle, you are not only alive, but you find yourself on the shores of the cursed island of Idra. Neat. Strewn about you is the wreckage of the Zephyr. You see no other survivors. Lest you find equipment and companions soon, you may have cheated death in vain. Injuries. Your character is critically injured. Is he, tutorial? I feel like he's doing okay. But, you know, for those frailer amongst my heroic audience, here's your injury tutorial so that you'll know what to do. Honestly, though, on a more serious note, the combat in this game can be very harsh and unforgiving, especially at this delicate early stage. We're in the classic low-level loop where even basic gear is essentially a precious treasure. So, with that in mind, let's see what we can scrounge up on this shoreline, shall we? One sec, just remembering what all the buttons do. And refreshing my memory on our build. Yeah, that looks about right. Thought I went a bit heavier on awareness, but I guess I went all in on diplomacy instead, which does make sense, since we are very reliant on that to get ourselves kitted with some actual decent gear. And yes, second wind still works the way I remember, which is a 2-round cooldown. So we can use it multiple times per battle. Though I don't recall if we can use it outside of fights. I don't think we can, but I'll have to double check that once we're wounded. We've got a raised plateau. We'll find our way up there a bit later. We'll just focus on the beach for now. Let's see what we got. Oof. Just literal vendor trash. Still good for bartering, though. And nothing over here. Or if there is, our awareness isn't high enough to detect it. Okay, let's push east. Ah, nice. I mean, yeah, sure, we'll take that too. It all adds up. It would be nice to find something we can actually use, though. Ah, come on, man. You know what? That's my bad. I should have been more specific. It would be nice to find something we can actually use as a warrior. Potions of Attunement are for casters. Wading out of the freezing surf, you lose your footing on the slick stones and fall heavily to the ground. There is a sudden blur of movement in the corner of your eye, and as you frantically try to get to your feet, you slip again. Standing above you on a large rock is a young woman dressed in Nautical Guild livery. Wet, auburn hair clings to her face in the cold wind. Magi's balls! I was sure I was the only one to make it ashore. The woman leaps from the rock and helps you back on your feet. Looking you up and down, she fetches a wineskin from her belt and offers it to you. The skin is nearly empty, save for a last mouthful of brandy. You drink it down greedily, and slowly, you feel a modicum of warmth creep into your bones. You recognize the young woman's face now. She must have served on the Zephyr. I know you. I saw you on the Zephyr. What was your name? Katyana's my name. The crew calls me Kat. Or rather, they did, I suppose. She looks up and down the beach with a furrowed brow. Listen, you have to get up. We need to get off this beach before you freeze. Or worse. What do you mean, worse? There's something wrong about this place. Can't you feel it? Like a taste in your mouth. And there are beasts, huge sea creatures I ain't never seen afore. I saw them dragging the dead crewmen into a cave west of here. At least, I hope they were dead. Cat shudders. Cat. Right, what are you suggesting? We need supplies and shelter first. There might be salvage to be had among the wreckage on the beach. I also think I spotted the chimney of a house just north of the cliffs. A warm fire and some food would go a long way. Kat offers you her hand and drags you to your feet. She looks pensively towards the west. Also, as I said, there's a cave west of here. I think the crabs dragged off most of the corpses there, but what if they're not all dead? Might be other survivors like you and me. What's more, there's a chance one of the officers was carrying the seal when the boat sank. If we can find it, the Nautical Guild would give anything to have it returned to them. A seal? Yeah, Captain Seal. It's a medallion of sorts that's carried on every guild vessel. It's not just for show, either. They say the seals are forged by the Magi, and that they have secret powers, but I don't know nothing about that. All I know is the guild pays well to have one returned if a ship is ever lost. It's always worn by one of the officers, but I don't think the captain had it on him when the fight broke out. Might have been the first mate was carrying it, and I think he was still alive when the ship sank. So I would say that cave to the west is where we should start looking. You ready to go? Sure, I can help with that, but I had some questions if you don't mind. There'll be plenty more time for that once we get off the beach. Are you ready? Well, I mean, I am completely unarmed and unarmored, so I'm going to say I probably don't have much choice. Alright. Let's go. Good. I found this bow in a cargo crate. We best find you a weapon too, as soon as possible. I suspect we'll need it before long. Together, you begin to move. Off the beach and towards whatever darkness dwells in the island's interior. And welcome aboard, Cat. The first of our 5 companions. And I believe our party rogue. Yes, our party thief. So Cat reaches level 2, she gains a paltry 3 vitality, but a full set of 10 ranks to distribute as we see fit. And her tree is fairly straightforward, mostly based around backstabbing and thiefly skills. There should also theoretically be some bow stuff in here somewhere. Though, if there is, I am certainly not seeing it. Yeah, that's our thief skills. Complete with our assorted active combat stealth abilities. Those are all pretty vital for her survivability. Oh, here it is. Wow, okay. That is buried deeper than I thought it would be. We have a very shallow archery tree tucked halfway down the list. Which I guess is fair. I mean, it is... She is a thief, not a ranger. Okay, so obviously we want backstab. We need to pick that up. And we should probably go for one of those 2 basic stealth abilities. Just give me a sec to run some numbers. And we're back. And yeah, it really was that simple, with just 10 points to spare. We really couldn't afford to do much aside from just covering our very basic abilities. So, to that end, we've gone 3 deep. That is just enough to unlock the basic backstab ability, which, you know, if we don't take, we can't stab backs. And then all the rest of our points went into Thievery Initiate, all in, so that we could unlock a couple of skill bumps and pick up Hide in Combat, which is required if you want to actually use stealth in combat. Sadly, that does leave a lot of other potentially useful bonuses on the table, but we'll get to them. At the very least, we've got some very eventful level ups in Cat's near future. Assuming we live to see it. And then as for the rest of her build, pretty much what you'd expect. She is a very basic high fantasy rogue. Focus on stealth and thievery. A distant secondary in athletics, though Farron's already exceeding her there. At least until he finds a shield and armor, which will slow him down. And then as for her gear, yeah, she's technically equipped, but it is with the absolute bottom of the barrel, bare bones minimum gear that she could possibly slide by with. Crude light club, crude short bow, a small stack of poor arrows, and a modest stack of lockpicks, which does give us a viable tactical alternative to simply smashing things open with our fists. Though, as with many a fantasy game, succeed or fail, you still use up those tools. That's why we have 5. Oh yes, and then she also, of course, pointed out that there is a cave back to the west of us, But before we worry about that, let's go ahead and finish clearing the easy stretch of beach first. Grabbing anything else that's not nailed down. Such as this crude club. Again, not much to write home about, but certainly better than nothing. Also, our map edge. Okay, so now we can double back. Though I suppose we should at least peek up here real quick. See if there are any other immediately easily accessible goods. I mean, we can see crafting ingredients up top. Oh, here we go. Hello, sir. The Wreck Picker. A lanky man with skin like sun-dried leather stares slack-jawed at you. He's dressed in rags and with a wide-brimmed hat and a large bundle of scrap slung over his shoulder. Do Basilow's eyes deceive him? More ghosts, or did the sea spit you back out alive? Not many are that lucky. Your eyes fall on the crude, spiked club that hangs on his belt. Hail, friend. Who might you be? Basilow makes his living picking at what the mother of maelstroms does not swallow. And it's been rich pickings as of late. Crates and barrels and even the odd fleshy morsel. The man bears a row of blackened teeth and what you assume is a smile. I see. And where, pray tell, does the bloody club fit into that whole process? The club is caked in dried blood and of crude design. It has the look of a tool used well and used often. Basilow offers up a chuckle that is chillingly out of place as he pats it. Every now and then, Mother Maelstrom offers up little fish that have a bit of fight left in them. All Basilow does is help put them to rest. Right. Just out of curiosity, how many fish have you caked that thing with today? He looks taken aback by the question. Don't worry, Basilow did them all nice, just like Father taught him. Anyone still squirming gets a knock on his shell till he's good and floppy. Not to worry, been doing it for years. Used to help my dad hold him down while he did the knocking. Quick as you like. Basilow offers an eager smile as if to reassure you that he's very good at what he does. Okay, Basil, my friend, just to ensure we're not having some kind of wacky miscommunication here, are we talking actual fish or are we talking washed-up sailors? Basilow fidgets in obvious discomfort at not understanding what you're trying to get at. The drowned men belong to Mother Maelstrom. Doesn't matter if a few of them manage to wriggle up on the shore for a last gulp of air. They're drowned men nonetheless, and all Basilow is doing is sending them back to where they belong. That's the way we used to do on these islands. Now most folks have forgotten, but not me. Not Basilow. My family has been here for a long time. Right, okay. Message received. Miscommunication avoided, and it went in the direction I was really kind of hoping it wouldn't, but, yeah, that's not going to stand. We're not going to... I mean, we really shouldn't jump the gun just yet. This guy's obviously bad news. But we have yet to get ourselves properly equipped or even gain our bearings, so let's hold off on any bloody retribution just yet. But we will make note that it may be required. Well, I'm glad we got that cleared up, Basilow. Thanks. Listen here, Basilow has a proposal for you. The man smiles in greedy anticipation. Shore's bursting with bounty today. Man can make a fortune if he sets his mind to it. Uh-huh. Better yet, no need for Basilo to risk his hide. You seem fit enough, and I've got coin. I'll buy whatever you bring me. Might even have a piece or two to sell if you're interested. Just beware them clippers. What, the crab's cat mentioned? Aye, crabs and critters and such, growing large and strange this time of year. Get your leg in their clippers and they'll lob it right off, so you best be careful. But not to worry, Basilo's always given them the laugh. Even when he was wee. Must have been just as big back then, though it doesn't really feel that way. The old man's brows furrow, and for a moment he is lost in deep thought. Right, anyway. Basilo will be warming his bones up at the old abandoned farmhouse right behind us. Find me there. Wait, I had questions. Not out here in the cold. Find Basilo up by the farmhouse. Might even have some soup cooking for you. Oh, well, that does sound appealing. I'm sure you're looking forward to having me for dinner. Well, you know, I'll get back to you on that, Basilo. Once I have checked out that cove and seen if there's anything worth bringing back your way. The man slinks off into the fog, heading north. As his form dissolves into the nothingness of the mist, you can hear him muttering to himself excitedly. Well, that was unsettling. I will say, while I have played through maybe about a third of the campaign in my spare time, it has been a few months. That was the early access build. And also, I do intend to try to generally make some different choices here. My character back then was, in fact, a dual-blade ranger who also, you know, just generally tended to approach things in a much more trusting fashion. Okay, there's his house, so we'll hold off on that for now. In approaching Basilo much more bluntly, I will say I was legitimately surprised to see him just straight up admit that he is, in fact, killing people on the beach and taking their stuff. So, unlike with my early access ranger, I do feel like we're in a much better position to justify burying the hatchet. Assuming, of course, we actually end up finding one here somewhere. Oh, well, that was quick. Okay, we've got our very first axe, as well as some clothes and a single coin. Oh, yeah, look at that. That is just an improvement across the board. Not to mention, of course, it is an actual axe, so we do get to enjoy our very modest axe initiate bonus. And, you know, while this stuff's not exactly armor, I mean, it's not going to keep us alive. It is a slight step up from tattered rags. Yeah, look at that. Why, we're almost looking downright presentable. Alright, thusly armed and properly clad, let's push on. Hopefully we can find some proper armor or possibly a shield out here somewhere. It would be nice to have some actual plating for our tank. Okay, we have an actual climb path here, though we'll hold off on it for the moment, since that's still a dicey athletics check. No point in tempting fate before we have to. A failed check can have dire results. Ooh, rations, nice. And a chest. Okay, so we're looking at a 6 or higher to smash it versus a 5 or higher to pick it. Okay. Cat, do your thing. Hey, nice. Which nets us a modest selection of spirits and supernatural solutions. We'll take it. Ooh, that potion of stone skin in particular will come in handy. Though I would still prefer a shield. Dead sailors. The stench of rotting flesh fills your nostrils. Ahead of you, grotesquely misshapen crustacean horrors feast greedily on the corpses of the dead crew of the Zephyr. Blasted horrors! Cat spits through gritted teeth. What manner of force has spawned these creatures? And there's our first fight ahead, our first real fight with the training wheels off. Oh, shoot. Okay, well. You know, I was really hoping that clicking that button would let us lead the fight with an arrow, but apparently it just starts the fight, so here we are. Alright, we have 2 foes. We've beaten them in initiative. We've got distance on them. A single ranged versus their none. Let's try to set up. Actually, we should find out now if we can shoot through friendly spaces. Which we cannot. Notice that she's immediately trying to sidestep Farron to draw a clear line of sight. Okay, noted. Ooh, lovely. Solid opener from Cat. And lethal follow-up from Farron. Whiff on the second arrow, but solid hit from Farron. Let's save the rest of our arrows. We'll move up in stealth. Yes, nice. Solid hit from Farron, though he is getting a bit whittled down. And Cat moves in for the kill. Lovely. Well, that actually went swimmingly. And, of course, as you can see here, sadly, our poor arrows did not survive the fight. So that means we're down to 12, 13 now. We did get a couple of pieces of chitin for our trouble. That's for crafting, nothing to worry about just yet, but we'll take it. And can we top Farron off now that we're outside of combat? It does not appear so. Alright, noted. A bit arbitrary. Obviously there just to prevent people from constantly topping off every time they get dinged. But we will keep it in mind moving forward. Try to top off whenever we anticipate a fight coming to an inevitable end. And, you know, at risk of spoiling the high note we might otherwise get to go out on with this episode, we do have an ominous maw beckoning us ever deeper into the abyss. With no lantern to light our way, that's probably fine. I'm not going to cut the episode short just because I'm terrified. Eons worth of the sea's ravage upon the land has given birth to this cave. From its depths, a stench of seaweed and rotting flesh arises. So foul is it, that it feels like some evil entity attempting to force its way through the pores of your skin, into the core of your being. Toughness verse 10, try not to vomit. Well, you know, narrator, I will give it my best, but the odds... Well, that's about a coin toss. Yeah, I mean... It could certainly be worse. Yeah, that seems about right. Your breathing becomes rapid and shallow as your mind is flooded by the image of foul things in the darkness, feasting on the spilled entrails of the swollen sea corpses. The chamber around you spins, and you vomit explosively. Feeling utterly empty, you regain your composure after a few minutes. The narrow passages of the cave ahead seem foreboding. Yeah, you know, that's fair. I guess that does kind of balance out our good luck in that first fight. Oof, -1 strength. That's effectively a -1 on all of our athletics and melee rolls. Kind of hard to stomach. And yet, we will settle and push on. I will say, though, if that nausea ends up being our undoing, it'll certainly leave a bad taste in my mouth. Speaking of which, more shellfish foes lying in wait, concealed within yonder pool. And we cannot open with a range attack. Okay, so let's try this instead. Easy, easy, hug the shadows. Oh, that's another one in the middle of the pool there. Okay, no, this isn't going to work. Change of plans. Attack. Okay, let's be very careful here. Yes, okay. We'll blitzkrieg the giant crab first. Hope we get lucky. Though if we're really lucky, these guys will also be surprised by our sudden assault. Oh, holy moly! Once more, the pendulum swings! Our foe has been felled, but 3 more still yet stand. The panic buys us a precious moment to top back off. And with the giant crab out, I think we'll actually save the potion of stone skin. It's risky, but I'd rather save it for a future fight if at all possible. Let's get bold here, take advantage of that panic while it lasts. Very minor, not enough to get through the shell. Enemy torso bloodied, half their actual health gone. Minor ding on cat. But second foe felled. Nice. Though, unfortunately, now cat is pinned in place, which is less than ideal. She is far less durable than Farron. Okay, now we should be able to pull cat back without risk of being immediately re-engaged. Which we do by just stepping away? Yes, nice, okay. Minor ding on Farron. Fourth foe is done panicking. Third foe's carapace is compromised. And cat for the kill with a critical backstab. Fantastic. Which just leaves the one, but let's not get overconfident. Victory is far from assured. Oh, wow. Still panicking. Right, because we just killed another one. Okay, fair enough. And cat pounces. Lovely. Whew. Oh, wow, and we got a level up. Fantastic. Sadly, we are down another arrow, but I would say that was, well, worth the price. Especially if we can immediately get rid of this nausea. Yes, perfect. We're fine. We're better than fine. We've got 3 points to distribute, though we will sit on that for the moment, at least. I would like to give it some thought. There are no tapbacks, no respecs, as far as I recall. I'll give that a good mulling before we commit. A sturdy coil of rope. A lantern with which to light our path. Lovely. Now we can actually see what we're doing. And a chest. Cat. Would you care to take a crack at this one? Lovely. Okay, so crude dagger, padded armor, ranger's outfit. Decent stack of gold and some vendor trash. We'll take it. And let us distribute our goods. Normally we'd hand the light armor right off to Cat, since she is a rogue, but for the moment at least that goes to Farron. But we will at least toss her the dagger, which, although it does have a slightly lower damage range, has double the crit, thus making it more suitable for her preferred approach to puncturing her opponents. See, much like with games like D&D or Pathfinder, it's not so much about that base core damage that the weapon inflicts, it's more about all the riders you tack onto it afterwards. Old and ruined shipping crates litter this part of the cave. Only smugglers would use a place like this to store their goods. Perhaps there are other similar caches to be found on the outer isles. Perhaps, oh faceless narrator. Ooh, and tunnels that delve ever deeper. Down, 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 into the bowels of the salty, sodden earth. That said, I do feel like we have perhaps pushed our luck enough for one day. This does feel like a good place to call it, at least until I settle on what we're doing with those new feat points. Gotta say, not a bad start. Some pretty solid tactics and rolls. Minus, perhaps, the slight overextending with Cat there and the, explosive vomiting. But that's gonna happen. That's just the nature of this grimdark world we find ourselves trapped in. Fortunately, it turns out our foes are also trapped in here with us, so, just gotta make sure they get got while the getting is good. That said, we'll hit the pause button for now. We'll figure out what we're doing with these feats, and we will pick up here next time. See you then. Oh, and special thanks to the raiders, the fine folks who help make these videos possible, including but not limited to Eerie V23, Revenant, Alois, Dragon Matrix 7, Drakiith, EgonAlter, Exsellsior, Gottlieb, James Trimmier, Kazorm, Mark Giemza, Nathan Welch Jr., OverlordPherom, RandomPassrby, RobbyB, Tomasz Piątkowski, Triphoppenskip, and Valinrook. Thanks for your support, guys. That said, if you'd also like to help support the channel, then feel free to push the buttons that do the things. Trust me, it does make a difference. Or you could even check out the PayPal, the Patreon, the Nexus GG, or the YouTube memberships. Links are in the description.